everybody, Hugh Kellenberger here. It's Dustin Dopirak coming to you from our normal spot. This is the table where Gus works.
I mean, I feel more than a little bit honored to be here. I don't feel worthy, actually. This might be kind of wrong. We're not worthy at all to be sitting in Gus Johnson's seat.
Dustin, the rule of Gus was shown once again to be true tonight. If Gus Johnson is in the building,
you will have a decent basketball game.
You will have a decent basketball game.
Somehow, somewhere.
And the underdog has a very good chance.
Yes, very good chance. And somehow IU pulled this off.
First top 25 win in the Tom Crean era.
Yeah. Huge
First,
win.
easily.
I don't even know if that was in my game story, which sucks.
I was in mine.
But
it was in my column.
Well played.
Easily the biggest win, I think, in the Tom Crean era. I think this easily tops beating Pitt at Madison Square Garden. This was Illinois.
No,
this was at home. This was
at a time when they needed a kind of a comeback.
This team has been left for dead. I counted it twice now.
Yeah.
After the 6 straight losses, and then somehow it happened again after the loss to Iowa.
I'm not going to act like that's not at least partly our fault. Or at least it's partly my fault.
No.
I don't know.
The fans went crazy on their own. They don't need our help.
True.
They react.
Every once in a while.
They react all on their own.
Anyway, let's move on from that.
Anyways, so a win Indiana desperately needed.
And basically they got it by being more or less everything they were not on Sunday.
Yeah.
Literally everything that went wrong on Sunday was kind of what went right today. After just an abysmal defensive performance against Iowa, who's not a very good offensive team, they come through with a spectacular win against Illinois, against a team that is. I hope he's not going to hold that up. No, he did. He really did.
A little bit. Hold on. A little bit down, JD.
Just for the record, that
greatest
is JD Campbell.
Greatest sign ever. Please tell me this ended up in the Big Ten Network.
So incredibly inappropriate for the record. Say hi, JD. JD Campbell, Indiana Sports Information. That was him, I promise.
By the way,
I swear to God.
My if I ever have a daughter, that is the last possible way I want to find that information out.
No, that is the single last possible way you want to find that information out. But somehow we have to move past that we just saw and talk about basketball again.
Let's talk about basketball again.
Yeah, but again, defense.
Defense.
What they shoot? 32.1% from the field. They held Illinois.
Yeah,
Illinois was the third best shooting team in the league. Best 3-point shooting team in the Big Ten.
5 of 20 from 3-point.
Was averaging 74.8 per game, and got held to 52. I mean, just
17 points total in the second half. It took them 5:37 to score a basket.
Yeah.
5:27 to score a basket, and they did not score the last 2 minutes and 44 seconds of the game.
And just everything was going well. I mean, they were stopping middle drive. Jeremiah Rivers did a masterful job on Dimitri McCamey, holding him to 2 for 11 shooting. Was just probably and he's been good defensively in the past, but this was probably his best outing overall. I mean, he just shut McCamey down completely. They did a really good job on the post. Mike Davis was able to get loose for 14 points. Mike Tisdale was 2 for 10. They doubled a lot in the post, and they really rotated so much better than they have. I mean, that's been a major problem when they've doubled down on people. They've had a really hard time getting back to shooters on the wing, and they did a great job of that tonight. They were able to put pressure on the ball and yet still get moving well enough that they weren't leaving somebody else wide open to dunk on them or hit a 3 or something like that. Just everything moved well. They were good in transition.
They were great.
They turned this into a grinded-out game, which is kind of what they had to do because of what they were facing offensively.
Yeah, I thought it was great at the end of the game that you forced DJ Richardson and Brandon Paul into taking those final 2 shots.
Sure. Yeah.
You don't let Dimitri McCamey have the ball because McCamey is good enough to he's 2-11, but easily to be 3 of 12. You're going to overtime.
Right.
And you got
because McCamey's hit that shot before. McCamey killed him at Spaceship Assembly Hall last year with a kind of teardrop that he hit over top of Dumas, I believe, to win that game. And they did not allow that to happen this time. Also, and what was kind of, I guess, even just as impressive is with 2.2 left, they had to go to Daniel Moore after Jeremiah Rivers got clocked on a screen by Mike Tisdale. They had to go. Other guys had to step it up on that possession because Rivers was kind of dazed and shaken after that pick, and they still managed to get it done. I think Daniel Moore was actually on McCamey for the last 2.2 seconds. It kept him from getting the ball.
I thought that was. I saw that happening, and I'm like, oh no.
Oh no! What is happening? But he got it done. I mean, as much as he's physically limited, he does get after you.
Yeah, he gets
is feisty. You. He gets after you. I don't know how much he's offensively limited. Obviously, he's defensively really short, and against a 6'3", 200-pound guy, over the course of a game, he's not going to be able to do that.
No,
but for one play, he got it done.
Yeah.
So.
I thought it was huge offensively, kind of merged to that side of the ball. Jordan Hulls is a guy that I think we're now seeing maybe actually needed to really have it all on him.
Maybe. Yeah.
It's no longer to the point where, with Verdell Jones out, with Maurice Creek out, they got to have Jordan Hulls score. There's no degree of Jordan being able to say, I made those guys open. I took defensive pressure away that opened up this and that's not. No, Jordan, go score.
Right.
And so we saw Jordan score tonight. He had 18 points. He had 4 3-pointers.
Yeah.
But I thought were his 2 field goals, where he drove the lane, something that he's supposed to not be able to do.
And in most cases, he's not really good at it.
Right.
But he
got to the lane and
he's
got
crafty
baskets.
with it. I mean, he's not that fast, but when the lane is there, he's not a guy that you can kind of put the whole offense on doing that. I mean, you can't go ball screen after ball screen top of the key for him like you can with Verdell. But every once in a while, when it's there, he can take it. And he did that tonight. He had some just monster threes as well.
Yeah,
he hit some huge shots.
Too early on that kind of established a
that
tempo.
He was back. I mean, you could
that
tell
first
that he wanted to establish
that first
after
three-pointer.
Sunday.
That first three-pointer. It was the first possession.
Yeah, it was. He came down and he just
where he was just like, "Oh, you're gonna let me open? Bam, in your face."
No, he was great tonight. Obviously, they only had 2 guys in double figures. There's still concerns after that. I mean, Watford and Hulls combined for 34 points. They scored 52. So the rest of the team scores combined 18.
But you know what? Maybe that's just how this team needs to win now. You have to adjust to your personnel.
That's, I guess, the question that kind of comes moving forward from this game.
Do you have
52-49 is you don't have a lot of games like that. I mean, you really got to defend out of your mind to be able to score 52 points and win, and they did. And they absolutely did. So the question is, is this the new identity of this team when they're playing without Jones? Do they have to play that sort of game that it's kind of slow, it's grinding, and they have to just...
They can play that way Sunday.
Yeah, they can. You're right.
Michigan State will definitely go with a grinded-out game. And the Spartans aren't making shots.
No, they're not doing
They're not
well
making shots. They're not rebounding the ball well. That's a very beatable team right now. Obviously, it's tough because you got to go to East Lansing. Obviously, it's tough because it's Tom Izzo and it's Tom Crean. So there's history there, and they know each other.
The student playing the master and whatnot.
Right. I mean, Michigan State's going to be the more physical team, much like Illinois was the more physical team. But it's another game that you can win saying, we're going to score 52 points, and that's going to be enough because we're going to play good enough defense. Right. But that's going to be enough.
And they got to lock in on it. I mean, we didn't necessarily have the time to get these guys to go into that, but you do wonder if that was part of the mentality this week. I mean, obviously you always want good defense, but is there this kind of, Rivers used the word sense of urgency when it came to communication, and you wonder if that's a big part of it when you know you don't have the firepower to score a lot of points, that you absolutely have to lock somebody down. That's the only way you have a chance. Does that change the way you defend? Does that make you more desperate? And when you are more desperate, are you better? Is that the way this team is going to play from now on, or at least from now until they get Verdell back? Do they realize, I guess, that when you really only have 2 guys you can rely on to put points on the board?
I think desperate was a good word. Desperate was a good word. They played desperate tonight.
They did.
They played with a real desperation, a sense of urgency that every possession mattered that we just didn't see against Iowa. They scored
not at all.
They scored 77 points, and it wasn't nearly enough because there was no sense of urgency whatsoever from the first minute to the last minute.
Yeah.
Tonight we saw a completely different team.
Yeah. They just wanted to lock somebody down. And you do wonder why it's there some days, why it's not there other days, but it was there today.
A young team.
You're right. It's still a young team, but you would, I guess, one thing you would think there's some of those days.
Mama said.
True, but there's some of the guys. You wonder why you don't see. I don't say you don't see more of that. Like Jeremiah Rivers today, again locks down McCamey. Where was he on Sunday? Bryce Cartwright.
Cartwright didn't have a great game.
No. I guess it wasn't so much on him, but
I was kind of indifferent. They beat him with Gatons and Marble
and Basabi. Really,
Basabi. I mean, they beat him really from the wings and the inside.
Yeah,
it wasn't so much on penetration.
No. I mean, it was.
Sorry to neutralize your complete point, but
yeah, you did, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. A consistent effort.
Right. But one way or another, I mean, this is something. Maybe this is something they build on. Who knows?
Let's end on that. This is something. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.